Hey, Build Show. It's the Baczek Architect. Yeah, I am down at our forever home. We just got maybe about 20 inches or so of snow. So what a great time to talk about heating, electrical, and plumbing. Yeah, in this episode, we're talking about all of the rough-ins. We're gonna catch up with Mike the electrician, Anthony the plumber, and then we're gonna finish up with my good friend Jim at Shoreline. So let's get after it.
Forever Home, a Build Original series, is brought to you by Builder's First Source, Baczek Exteriors, Huber Engineered Woods, and Rockwool. Forever Home, a Build Original series.
We're here, as you can see, we have HVAC going in, we got wires going in, all kinds. We got some 14s, some 12s, some 10s there. You can see our air barrier is fully intact. We got a bunch of our wires pulled for the overhead lights there. I thought we would just take a little walk around the house so you guys can catch up. Plumbers, hot and heavy, we're putting in all of the drain, waste, and vent pipe now. And you can see here we have a bunch of our HVAC. We have some covers here and over there. This house is a pretty simple heating strategy. We pretty much have this one-story ranch. We have 2 bedrooms down here, the living room, kitchen. That all gets serviced from a system downstairs. We also have a second floor along this leg, and that one gets serviced from a unit upstairs. So basically 3 different units in the house. One of the units is on a damper system where it's servicing both the basement and the first floor. So why don't we head on downstairs and we'll see you in the basement. Hey there, Build Show. Steve Baczek Architect. I'm out on the site of our forever home. You can see behind me here, you might notice we have a bunch of interior walls framed, right? I can pull them off here. You can see there's a couple small ones here, larger ones here, but guess what you don't see? You don't see scrap pieces. You don't see sawdust. You don't see a mess. You don't see a pile of waste. That's because we chose to use the Ready Frame project out here. The Ready Frame is a package that basically comes out, and it comes out all pre-cut. You'll notice all of the positions are digitally printed on the top plate and bottom plate. So it's literally all spelled out for you. And the beauty of this is the guys were framing the wall framing here for, I don't know, 3 or 4 days. They never had to break out a saw. We're pretty much almost through roof framing, and we're getting rid of the very first 10-yard dumpster. So there's little to no waste out here. It's pretty much a no-brainer. And all of the interior walls, the same thing. Exterior walls, all of the headers are pre-cut, all of the LVLs. They did our pocket headers the way we would typically do them. So everything was to the way that I intended it to be done. It was done with the accuracy and expertise that we would expect, and everybody that was a part of the process found it very favorable. So give BFS a chance, give that Ready Frame package a chance. Get with your framers, try it out once. It is certainly not over the top, and like Jim and Shoreline and their framer Ryan, you might be pleasantly surprised that Ready Frame is the way to go in the future. All right, so we're down in the basement. We got our Bosch unit here. It's a heat pump unit, all electric. This is an upflow unit, so we have our return that comes down into the bottom. We have our filters down there, and then we have our supply ducts. Now, this unit is responsible for 2 zones. So we have the basement zone, and then we have the first floor zone up above. So you can see on the side of the duct here, we have our zone dampers. Those are basically just the brains of the operation. The damper basically is just a big flap inside the ductwork that it is either open or it's closed. If it's open, it's allowing air to go down the ductwork. If it's closed, then it's forcing air to go through one of the other ducts. But if we follow this ductwork, one of them here, you can see this one jumps down, and we get into that part of the basement that I call the dirty basement. We have a whole series of ductworks here. Some of them are feeding the first floor. Some of them are running down into that shop ceiling, but they're not servicing the shop. The homeowner wanted to have control of his shop independently. So on the back side of that drywall, we have a wall-mounted heat pump here, one of the Bosch units. So that is basically only to service this shop area for either air conditioning and or heating. When we head up to the second floor, we're gonna catch up with Jim. We're gonna look at that little manufactured attic or that recess in the trusses and see how that all laid out with the ductwork, and I'll see you on the second floor. Jim, first and foremost, you guys did a hell of a job. This must make the HVAC guy pretty happy.
Yeah, it was great for the install. We were able to keep everything in the building envelope as designed, and everything's really compact. Just kind of comes out like a octopus and pop down with supplies. Got our returns behind us, and worked out great.
Going in here, one of the questions y'all might have is, okay, well, you have an attic above. How do you solve for that? So we have a hatch here that gets us into the utility space, and then we have an upper hatch, which actually is going to get us into that attic space. And then we have one room over here that is not connected to that. But your HVAC guy says, no problem. So we do have this one duct here that he said, not a problem. We'll come off the supply.
Yep.
That goes down into the floor and just comes up as a floor register in the bathroom.
Yep, solved easy.
We have a guest suite over there that's going to have its own return. We have a return to this suite here, and then we'll have a return that's in the room that will be vented to
Correct.
the hallway.
Yep.
And you have to remember, you know, there's a trade-off in what we're doing here. We have the zip R sheathing on the outside, insulated walls, very good air tightness, and most of all, we have really good windows. When you're thinking about HVAC systems and such, you really need to understand that the windows are actually part of your HVAC system, because the better quality of windows, the lower the load is on the building, which the windows are a large contributor because they're always the worst part of the wall.
Right.
I think it worked great, Jim.
I think you did.
I'll tell you what, why don't we head downstairs? I'm gonna catch up with Mike the electrician and Anthony. You're in for a treat. Mike, how you doing, buddy?
Good, how are you?
All right. Let's talk a little bit about the electrical system for this house.
Yep.
So I see 2 panels. I'm
Yep.
assuming we're probably at 400 amps
Yeah,
here.
that is correct.
And these are what?
240 space panels, Generac transfer switches will be a 26 kW generator outside.
What size generator, do you know?
He's gonna do a 26 kW.
And we're also talking that we're gonna be solar ready here.
Yeah, we're gonna
Right.
prep for solar, 3 2-inch conduits up to the attic.
How about walking me through? We have yellow,
Yep.
some white. The yellow is a little larger than the white.
Yep.
Then we have this red, and we have the black. So
Yep.
walk us through. So let's talk about the white.
Yeah, so that's a 14.2 right there. That's just your general lighting, bedroom circuits.
And then we go to the yellow. So tell me a little bit about.
12.2, so that's a little bigger. That's like your kitchen circuits, your garage
Okay.
circuits.
Something that's above, say, the
yeah,
15 amp
exactly,
or 20 amp.
yep.
So red,
So that's a 10.3, so that like your electric dryer.
ovens.
Yeah, like
That
wall
kind of thing?
ovens, all that. Yep.
Okay.
And then that's a 6.3.
Okay.
That one's the range. We have a couple of 6.2s going to the air handlers for electric backup heat.
And so basically all of these wires, 14s, 12s, 10s, 6s, as the number decreases,
The wire's larger.
the
Yep.
wire is larger and you get more amperage,
More amperage
basically.
through that, yep.
And these are all obviously controlled by circuit breakers.
Yep. And those arc fault breakers in there. Those are just regulars in there right now.
So we don't have to have the GFIs
no, those
necessarily.
we do, but
we will
we'll
have them.
we'll be dual functions in there.
I gotcha. Talk to me a little bit about, we have some blue cable
Yep.
here.
So that's Cat 6. That's communication and network stuff.
Network,
Yep.
all of that. There is a Cat 7, Cat
Yeah,
8
there's all sorts
that
of
go for like data centers, places that just use
more than they're gonna ever really need. In the
more
house.
than they would need in a house. So
Yep.
Cat 6 is about the maximum. Now, I do want to jump out here with you for a second because
Yep.
I want to point out you know, this is somewhat unique to Massachusetts.
Yep.
We like to do our furring strips. So we put in our trusses, we put in our 1x3s. But as you can see, we have a couple wires there, a wire here, a wire there. Electricians love to use that 3/4 inch cavity.
Yeah.
And even though you have trusses,
Yeah.
you just
Yeah.
staple it up below.
Yeah.
And obviously, this is, you know, that clean part of the basement
Yeah.
that you always hear me talk about. Nothing's allowed to drop below. Over here, dirty part, you can see. We're allowed to have ductwork and stuff coming down. You can see all the Cat 6. I wanted to go around the corner here
Yep.
to the unit, because I got a question for you. The HVAC guy, he sets all of his box.
Yep.
But this thing obviously doesn't run on thin air.
Exactly.
It needs power.
Yep.
So at some point, Mike, the electrician, has got to bring power over.
Yep.
So kind of where does the HVAC guy's scope of work end,
Yeah.
and where does yours start?
Once he sets the unit, we'll come in, we obviously wire it, we run the thermostats up, you know.
Okay.
And then we run all the controls for it out to the condenser and all that. He sets it, does all of his ductwork, and then
You
we
take
come
care
in.
of all
Yep.
the brains behind it and the power
Yeah, we
behind
got the
it.
zone dampers, so we'll throw it, there'll be a little control board on the side of that.
All right, so that wraps it up with Mike. Let's go find something else to talk about. All right, Anthony,
Hey.
how about you come down that ladder? Let's talk plumbing, buddy.
How you doing, bud?
I don't want to take you away from your work, but
we're working hard.
always a pleasure.
Yeah.
You walk into this house, it's an empty basement. What's your strategy? Like, what's the first thing you think about?
Generally, you're laying each bathroom out. You know?
Okay.
The 3-inch, you want to find out where the 3-inch, because that's got to go up through the roof. Once you start looking, it starts to come together, and then you just do it a section at a time.
Right.
And kind of everything meets in the basement.
And we have a septic system here instead of town sewer,
Yeah.
which is somewhat unique to New England.
Yeah, you got to watch your elevations, you know,
And-
and where everything lands. This one's not too bad.
And so we have some pipe over on the other side of the house that's going to go out to the sewer line. I believe it's like 4 or 5 feet up,
Yes.
right? That's going to go out to the
That's
septic system.
septic, yep.
So we come back here and we say, okay, we have a toilet here that's probably 40, 50 feet away
Yeah.
from that septic.
Yep.
And then you have to basically back it all down.
Yeah, I mean, there's structure in the way. You got LVLs, but if you map it out, in this case with Jim, he's pretty good.
Yeah.
And you know, we follow the trunk line on this one, dodge the LVL over there, and if you look, you still have inches left at the end of it.
And there is a requirement. You just can't go put this pipe in. This thing's got to carry a slope,
yeah,
right?
at least a quarter of an inch.
A quarter of an inch. And the reason for that, if I have too steep of a pipe, the water runs by the
And the
solids and leaves
gets-
solids stay
yeah.
in the pipe.
You can do an eighth in the basement.
Okay.
A little bit less, you know,
Yep.
as long as everything kind of floats down.
But you want to make sure everything's
right.
evacuating
Oh,
the
yeah.
pipe. And you, like you said earlier, you always start with the largest pipe, which makes sense.
Yeah, you're 3 inches. You
Drain lines are in. I see this one here. This one comes off. That looks like maybe a 2 or 1.5 inch line.
No, that's 2 inch, and
Okay.
that's going to serve the shower. It
That serves the shower, which
also
is
picks up the lab and it vents the toilet and this whole bathroom group. Dumps
it.
into this 3 inch here, and again, you can see where it comes down. We have to because of the LVL.
the LVL. And then, so all of our drain and waste and vent,
Yeah.
DWV.
Yes.
So that is in. Then the next one is pretty easy, right? These
Yeah, we
days,
always
since-
do the PVC
the hot and
first,
cold water?
and then we'll do the water distribution.
And in this case, PEX.
Yeah. For us, most of the time, it's PEX.
Now, is that your choice?
I mean, I've done copper in the past. Thank God those days are over because the PEX is a lot easier. I think it's a better product.
And do we do it all as a home run system, or?
Yeah, it's kind of a home run branch
Okay.
system.
And then the water heater here, we have a standard heat pump.
Yes, and I
Hot
think
water
there's a recirc on this one too, so we'll be
Okay.
recircing.
And the recirc is basically just providing a preheated
Yeah.
loop
Yeah.
that you tap off of for the sink, so you're not waiting for water to
Right.
come 40 feet.
I think it's if you got to run over 75 feet, but in this house, we'll be doing that, you know.
Okay. And does that loop have a timer?
It's going to run off of a recirc pump. This case, it's a Grundfos, kind of a smart pump, and it learns what these folks do. It's got a little sensor on it. And you also have the capabilities of putting it on a temperature or continuous.
So when you say learning what these folks do, so if I'm the homeowner and I get up 6 o'clock every
Right.
morning and take a shower,
Yeah.
at some point the loop recognize, or the
Realizes, yeah.
sensor that says every 6 o'clock we go on.
Exactly.
So at 5:50, let's fire up the loop.
Yes, so then they have it when they come in. And it'll learn this family's, day-to-day
All the
routine.
habits.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna let you get back to it. I'm gonna go find out what other kind of trouble we can get into. We're about to board up the walls here in about a week. So I figured let's take one last look at those roughed in utilities. And we're gonna start right here. Even though we have an ERV, the ERV is not a per room dedicated system. It's a general ventilation system to the house. So we still need localized exhaust in our bathrooms. So you can see here, we have our bath fan and there's our exit duct, but it's set in between the strapping here and fully air sealed. Taylor ran the ductwork through and sealed it all up inside of that box before he installed it. Then it'll go up on the top side. They can do some touch-up air sealing. That's a really good example of that next level air sealing. We have our Siga Myrex, but unfortunately, we're gonna do things like put a fan in, which means we're gonna have to punch a hole and penetrate that Siga Myrex. So when we do that, we want to make sure that we are maintaining that continuity of our air barrier. You can see it here. We have our Siga Myrex. We also have our 2x4 strapping. This is on 16 inches on center here. So it changes our truss 24 inches on center down to a 16-inch on center. That helps hold up that insulation. But it also provides an 1.5 inch space here. So now we can put in all of our rough recessed lighting there, and we can run the wires. And notice, all they do is they just push up that Myrex and run the wire through. And that has to deal with actually a code issue. You need to keep all the wires 1.25 inches away from any of the drywall attachments. So that full 1.5 inches here means that you can sit there and screw the drywall right where the wire is. Those wires just come over and then they come down into the wall system over here. Nothing is going up into that attic space. So we have a nice continuous air barrier and our electrical is operating underneath it. As I walk up here, I wanted to point out one thing, electrical boxes. I like to look in the boxes, all of their connections and the surplus wire, that's tucked nice and neatly in the back of the box there. And then the other thing here is notice there's a little bit of slack in the wire here. You go to make up this box, maybe the drywaller runs a zip tool in, chews up a wire. Well, you have about 6 or 8 inches of slack here. You can simply just pull that wire, rework that box. Just a really great job, nice and neatly stapled. I'm gonna head on downstairs and we can catch up down there and we'll close out this whole rough utilities video. All right, so we made it way down to the basement. One of the things I want to point out, we have our Bosch home comfort system up here. This is a wall-mounted heat pump. This, 68 degrees, nice and warm. It's got heat coming out of there, and it's 19 degrees outside. So one thing to kind of wrap my head around is the fact that it's 19 degrees and this thing can still find heat in that air to produce 68 degree environment on the inside. If we come over here, this is one of those things that you're living in New England, it's 19 degrees out, you have a water service that's coming into the house, but we don't quite have this up to par. So Jim and Taylor, they have their incandescent lamp heating this up. They actually have a thermometer sitting on the water meter here, so it's about 60 degrees over here, certainly more than enough to keep this water pipe from freezing. They also have water service in here, so when the plasters come in or somebody needs some water, we now have a water service in the house. As they take a walk around here, they have it all marked out here. They're gonna core a hole here, 6-inch septic. This is where it's gonna go out. But you can see all of our plumbing pipes are starting to converge on this one location so that it can go out. They are all sloped 1/8 inch or 1/4 inch. We have some clean outs on the end here so that if you ever had a blockage, you could pop that open. You can see since the last time we were down here, Anthony's been working really hard and heavy. We have our shower there. This one pipe, I don't want you guys to mistaken that for plumbing. This is actually our radon vent that goes up into the attic and out through the roof. You can see all of the plumbing, and notice the plumbing. Everything is a Y that is moving in the direction of flow. So we have all of that plumbing coming down. It's converging, and notice as we follow that plumbing, it just keeps dropping elevation. We have some clean outs here. It takes us to that plumbing, and out there we have our ductwork that ran to the dirty basement there, but we still had one main duct line. We had a 9-foot ceiling. We dropped this down to just around 8 feet in this area here, which, you know, a lot of times we try and make that intentional so we're beyond the door, but that little lip up will also help you understand that this is kind of the fitness room, and the space underneath that soffit is this assumed corridor, and we run it right down into the side. That gets us some additional ductwork to service this whole end of the house. This duct here is not only blowing up, but blowing down. So that unit is basically a system that's working in both directions. And then we have our retreat room, you know, HVAC guy, you can see. They paint all of it in there black, so we don't have any shiny metal. When you're looking through the grill, you know, Jim and his guys just doing a bang up job. All righty, Build Show. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Place is coming along great. We got insulation up next. We got drywall up next. If this is the first episode you're catching, make sure you go back and check out that foundation, all the floor framing, wall, and roof framing. We did Builder's First Source ready frame here, some roof trusses. Stay tuned because we still have a lot more happening down here at our Forever Home. So look forward to taking you on the rest of the journey. I'm Steve Baczek, Architect. This is the Build Show. This is our Forever Home. Until next time, long live our buildings.